Good day, ladies and gents. Today we'll be evaluating the condition of a used Rolex dive watch 14060 using the framework laid down by Paul Thorpe in his recent video, How to Properly Evaluate the Condition of a Rolex Watch. For those of you who haven't seen that video, I advise you, maybe I'll leave a link below so you can connect to that video. For those of you who don't know who Mr. Thorpe is, he's a retired watch dealer located in England, working out of England, who has been producing over the years a number of videos that are quite valuable in helping us to navigate the market, whether it be for used watches or buying new watches, sort of giving us a little bit of street sense, a little bit of street smarts, so that we know what to ask for, you know, what to look for and what to ask for, and how to negotiate when we're going to buy a luxury watch, and especially namely Rolex watches. So thank you, Mr. Thorpe, for laying out this framework. And if you watch this video and you think that I've left something out, then please feel free to comment below. I'd be very happy to hear from you. First off, I'd also like to say that any watches that are featured in this series of videos are not for sale, right? They're not available at any site that I can recommend, and they are not, I'm not spruiking them. I don't have any affiliate links or anywhere where you could buy these. What you could just consider them to be examples and samples. They've been lent to the company here so that we can do these reviews and do these evaluations. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at a very specific watch. We're going to be looking at one watch, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at it from the point of view as if you're walking down the street. Okay, so you're on the pavements. You find yourself stood out front of a used watch shop. You see the model that you've been looking for. So you've been looking for a 14060. You've been looking for a Note 8 sub. You see this watch. All right, you see it in the window. You know, you tell your missus, hey, whoa, hold on a minute. Okay, we've got to look at this watch. And you decide that you're going to go inside and you're going to talk to the watch dealer, and you're going to try and negotiate with him to buy the watch after you've determined whether the watch is of the you know, whether it's legit, whether all the parts are correct, whether everything is right with the watch, the condition is good. So this is how to tell you to determine all of those things, and we're going to use Paul's method. Now, first of all, the watch that we're looking at today, all right, we're looking at a Rolex Submariner 14060. This watch is a T serial number, so it is from 1996. So you're going to want to know all of the things that you need to look for when you're looking at this watch. All right, so first of all, this is a watch that has no date function. It has a 120 click bezel. It has a quad seal crown. It has an automatic movement that operates at 28,800 vibrations per hour. All right, it has a case that is brushed on the top, polished on the sides, brushed on the back. It has a bracelet that is brushed all over the place except for the sides of the clasp. All right, it has an aluminum bezel insert, and all of it, everything is in tritium, so you should have the less than 25 T markings at the bottom of the dial. If not, then it will be indicating to you that the dial has been replaced. All right, so how do we start? Well, Paul likes to use a jeweler's loupe. My preference is to use a watchmaker's loupe myself. Okay, that's just, this is my experience is in making and building watches. So I use this 4721 Bergeon loupe. This one is good because it fits inside of a little canister, so it keeps dust free. It's sort of like the jeweler's loupe folds in on itself. This one you could fit in your pocket. You could take it out whenever you need it. And this one telescopes. Okay, so you open the canister, you take it out, and it's telescoping, right? So how are you going to use this? As Mr. Thorpe says, if you're going to take out your loupe and you're going to be looking at the watch, well, you know, you're holding the watch far away and the loupe in the middle and you're doing all sorts of funky things with it, well, that's going to be a dead giveaway that you have no idea what you're doing, and the watch dealer is going to lose all respect for you, and he's probably going to try and take you for a loop. Pardon the pun. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the loupe to your eye, and you're going to bring the watch towards your eye. Let's give it a cursory once over. You're just going to make sure that it's got a gloss dial, that it's got an aluminum bezel insert, that all of the surfaces are as they should be. Just do a really fast once over, just to make sure that you're not going to waste any more time after this. Because if you look at it right now and you see that something is really untoward, well, you just don't want to keep going on. All right, after that, you've got the watch, holding it on your hand. All right, you don't want to hold the watch, okay, as we've learned, you don't want to hold the watch in a way so that the clasp smashes on the case back and so that it scrapes the case back and ruins it, because what that's going to do is either it's going to ruin the watch that you're going to be buying, or it's going to leave the watchmaker with a watch that's taken down a few clicks that he's going to have to put back in his case, and you've just damaged. And I think that you can pretty much guarantee yourself that any relationship that you might have had with this shop is done right about there. So you're going to hold the watch properly, all right? And now start to examine the watch by feel. All right, so when I do this, I prefer to not look at the watch as much as possible. All right, so I'm going to put it out here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel the bottom of the case, feel that it's sharp. I'm going to feel the lugs, feel that they're shaped nicely. I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to feel the front bottom and feel that it is nice and sharp. I'm going to feel that the notches on the bezel are firm, they're crisp, they're nice. I'm going to feel all the way down the outer edges of the bracelet and towards the clasp to see if I feel any kind of nicks or any kind of damage, any kind of protruding, like protruding screws or wrong screws, as Paul says. So, as he says here, we're going to look to see that the screws are proper. So on this side, they are not; they're sitting flush. On the side that's got your slot, you're going to see that they're the correct screws, that they're not, that they're not too small for the space, or that they're not sitting out, or they're not maybe like a Robertson head screw or something just really wonky. All right, so once we've felt all around this and feeling this watch, so as we're evaluating this watch, we've looked at it under a cursory review under the loupe, and now we've felt all around the watch and we're feeling that it feels pretty good. So far I don't feel a lot that I'm going to be able to bargain with the watch dealer. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go over the finishes of the watch, just to make sure. So you've done a little bit of study on your watch, you've done a little study on the model, so you know that it should be polished for the 14060. It should be polished on the sides of the case. It should be brushed on the tops of the case. All of the bracelets should be brushed. The sides of the clasp should be brushed only, and not the flip lock. Everything else should be brushed, the whole thing. All right, so you have some polished edges on the case back, all right, and then you have a straight brushed area in the middle. You want to make sure that the finish is exactly as it is supposed to be. After that, we're going to check the functions. So we know that this is a dive watch, so we're going to look at what defines a dive watch. Often it's the bezel, so we're going to look at the bezel. All right, check that bezel out. As we check the bezel out, let's look at the glass, because as anybody knows, the glass on a Rolex is very important, because that's going to become a negotiating tool with the watch dealer if there's any kind of problem with the glass. So you're going to feel the glass with your thumbprint. You're going to feel all the way around the glass with your thumbnail. Because if you feel any kind of chip or any kind of scratch or any imperfection in the glass, like I say, as anybody knows who's brought it into a Rolex service center, once Rolex feels that there's anything wrong with that glass, they're going to replace it automatically, and that's going to be an additional cost to you. So let's determine that the glass is right. Let's also make sure the glass is authentic. So depending on the age of the model you're looking at, this particular watch here, it should have a coronet on the glass. So we're going to look and make sure that the coronet at 6 o'clock is there. Now, one thing, if you look and you see that it's not at 6 o'clock, you don't see that coronet, don't be alarmed right away. Look on a no-date watch all the way around the glass to see if it's there, because on a watch with date, you have the cyclops to orientate the glass, and so does the watchmaker to see that the coronet is at 6. But if you have a watch that's got no date function, as this one does, this Submariner, okay, it's possible that it may have been a Friday afternoon watch and the watchmaker was just a little bit in a rush, or maybe you got a watchmaker that doesn't particularly care about the orientation of the glass. Then maybe that coronet is somewhere else around the glass. But we're going to look at this one, we're going to see what's going on, and I can see that the coronet is at 6 o'clock, so that's fantastic. So that's another plus for this particular watch right here. All right, we've checked the bezel. Now we're going to the glass. Now we're checking that the bezel has 120 clicks and that the bezel lines up with the 12 o'clock marker. Okay, so the bezel is functioning properly. We're going to unscrew the crown, feel that it's got, if it's got barely any turns, you start to turn it, boom, and it pops off right away. Well, that means you're going to need to replace either the tube or the crown. So check that the crown's got a lot of screws. You look for that gasket that is present on the tube. Okay, look for that gasket. You see that little black line there that's present on the tube? All right, next you're going to set the watch. This is very important because some people forget to do this. If you're going to, you want to set the watch and make sure that it lines up. All right, so that when your minute hand is crossing off into the next hour, it's finishing off 1 hour, it's going into the next hour, that your hour hand is also located in the right place, right? Otherwise, if you don't check this, maybe you leave the watch dealer, you're gone for about a half an hour, it's been a half hour since you left, and you're just crossing over into the next hour, and you notice that as the minute hand crosses the 12 o'clock mark, your hour hand is lagging. It's behind, by several degrees. Well, you've already purchased the watch, you've already paid, and you're already gone. It might cause an argument if you go back and try afterwards to bring the watch back. At the very least, it's going to cause a bad relationship between you and that watch dealer, whether it's on your side feeling contention that he did not notice that and sold you a bad watch, or whether it's him thinking that maybe you've done something since you left, and now you're coming back, and try to pull a fast one on him. So, as I say, here we'll go all the way after that. We already went to 6 o'clock. Let's bring it all. We'll bring it. Here we go. We're coming up to 10 o'clock. So I'm going backwards on the screen, and we're just seeing that it's matching up with the hour when the minute hand is passing over. And yes, it is for this particular watch right here. So far, I'm looking at it. If I'm looking for a 14060, this is probably going to be one that I'm going to want to leave the shop with if I have the money to pay, and if we can get ourselves into an agreement on price. That's going to be one that I'm going to want to pay for and I'm going to want to bring home so far. So next we're going to check the band. All right, we're going to check the bracelet. So we're going to look for what Mr. Thorpe calls in his video a bad case of the BS, or a case of the BS. So what is BS? BS is band stretch, and that's when dirt gets in between the links, the middle links of these bracelets on the slightly older models, and it starts to wear down and the bracelet will start to sag like an old lady's underpants. And so what you're going to do is you're going to hold the watch properly. You put one thumb at the 9 o'clock side, you're going to put one finger here, you will like to put the other finger on the other side of the crown, and then hold the bracelet straight and let go and see what happens. And what we see is from this side, very good. This is a 23-year-old watch from 1996, and we can see that it's holding up very well. So we'll do it on the other side as well. You got your thumb at the 9 o'clock side, you got your fingers over here, hold it up, let go, very good, nice and straight. So again, the band is good. So it looks like we've checked almost everything. The only other thing that we want to think about is, how's the watch running? When you got to the shop window, did you see that the watch was already running? Was the watch stopped? When you picked up the watch, when the watch dealer passed you the watch, did you look at it to see if it was running already? And then after that, when you started to look at the watch, when you turned it around, did it start running on its own? Or do you need now to go and unscrew the crown and really wind it up? And once you start winding, how easily does it start to go? Because if you've really got to crank that crown and the watch is not kicking off, that means that your watch is probably in need of a service sometime soon, and that's definitely going to be a bargaining tool for you. So I think that this comes very close to finishing things off for this one. Now, however, I do have a little bit of a twist to this one, because I do have a little bit of a cheat sheet, right? So this particular watch here, so I'm just going to cover part of the serial number. This particular watch here was actually at the Rolex service center not very long ago. Alright, so it had the bracelet polished, so that ensures us the bracelet was polished perfectly and according to Rolex standards. It had a case polish, that ensures us that the proper areas have been polished. Okay, and we see that it had a new glass. So, you know, some people might sort of feel that maybe that's a downside, that doesn't have the very original glass that was on the watch, but with a watch that's only 23 years old, this is not a vintage collector's piece. This is not a piece that's going to, that the value is really going to change depending on whether the glass has been replaced by Rolex or not. And now that we've seen the case polish has been done by Rolex, we'll check one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier, and that is that the case has not been over polished. And we can see that these spring bars, these shoulderless spring bars, they are visible, okay, through the lug holes, but they are not coming close to the edge, and they are not protruding. Okay, we try and get a good focus. There we go, on that, on all of these. Now that is a good sign. So that means the lugs are completely full. So this particular watch here, I don't think that you have really any, you don't really have any bargaining tools with the watch dealer. I guess you would expect that before you've gone into the shop, you've checked you've gone on Chrono 24, you've gone on internet watch forum sales sites, you've gone to look at various used watch shop windows, you've checked the Facebook marketplace, you've looked to see what do watches in this condition for this model, for this approximate age go for. And when the watch dealer says, well, I don't know, how much do you want to give me for it? That you have a number to give him, because he will respect you a million times more if you have a number to give him than if you say, well, I don't know, what would you like, what would you like me to pay? When you do that, you're asking him to highball you basically, and also he realizes that you don't know what the watch is worth. So do your research, know what the watch is worth before you go in, know what it's worth in different conditions. Do your due diligence. I mean, you're going to be spending thousands of dollars. For some of these watches, it's $10,000 when you're getting into Rolex diver territory, right? So do a little bit of research. Don't go in there asking ridiculous questions, or otherwise you'll probably get taken advantage of. You're definitely not going to get the best or do the best that you can. All right, so excuse me. We're going to wrap this up for now. Oh, sorry, before we're done, I'm going to do a quick wristwatch check. All right, I'm wearing a LHD Pelagos. The wristwatch check was invented by the pawn of Paul Pluta, aka Archie Luxury. We're wearing a Pelagos LHD. We're going to wrap up now. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. You can leave a nice comment or you can leave a nasty comment. It really doesn't matter. Do whatever you like, and we'll hope to see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye for now.